This is a News 2 breaking news alert.
And specifically for our friends in Montgomery and also Stewart County, we can confirm, News 2 can confirm that Kirby Wallace, a fugitive from justice, is now in custody. Jessica Jadaglo has been out there recovering this for us, joins us now, and I know you've been working some of your sources as well.
Absolutely. So what we know is that this was this morning the authorities moved the search perimeter over into a smaller area. So what we saw yesterday was there was an exterior search perimeter, sort of like a larger circle, and then there was an inner search perimeter, and in that search perimeter were homes, people's, people lived there. There were people that needed to go to school, children that needed to go to school, and they were not allowed to go in or go out for the last 7 days. So they've been stuck in that little area, and of course they were very scared. So this is a live look at, it looks like, where Kirby Wallace was taken into custody. And what we saw when we were out there is the terrain, and we've talked about this sort of ad nauseum, but really we cannot describe enough how difficult this terrain was for these officers and authorities to traverse in order to capture him. There were caves.
Mara Sirianni, if you can hear me, what are you picking up there? Obviously, this is near the location where he was captured.
This is Barty Road. This is reportedly the area right off Kirkland Road, which we were telling you about, where he was reportedly taken into custody around 10:15 this morning. And so we see a few sheriff's deputies here. I see one with Stewart County. It might be, hopefully you guys can hear me because the helicopter is here as well. It is a state police helicopter, it looks like. Sorry, I'm trying to see through some woods here. Yeah, so this area is a gravel road. Obviously, it is extremely rural back here.
We actually might be seeing Wallace being moved out of the woods here. Is that,
yeah,
is that what I heard
guys,
Jerry
so
say?
I think we are being told.
Is that Wallace?
Yes. I'm sorry, trying to backtrack here, and there's rocks.
We can zoom in.
Okay, they're about to put him in this sheriff's car. This is the Stewart County sheriff's vehicle. They're about to bring him out of the woods now.
Maura, we're going to stick with you and watch you take this in.
Sure, I will describe to you. Oh, here he is. Here is Kirby Wallace. He's being walked out of the woods right now. We are getting our first look at him for the first time in 7 days. Okay, so it looks like he is in camo. He's in a sweatshirt.
Just into our newsroom, new details of a fatal officer-involved shooting in North Nashville. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 2 at 10. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilkes. We start with that breaking news alert. News 2 is the first on the scene and the first to report this using our News 2 app. Tonight, more than 2 hours after a shooting, there's still a very active scene with Metro Police and TBI agents investigating.
She got one running, no black, long dread, blue button-up shirt. Black handgun. Shots fired. Suspect down.
That's the sound from Metro Dispatch during the tragic altercation. The shooting happened during a traffic stop at 17th Avenue North and Joe Johnston Avenue.
Well, as you can see, still a very active investigation right now. We can see several police officers still on the scene. Just beyond me, in front of those townhomes about 100 yards away, that is where an officer killed the man. We do have the man's identity. That man's name is 25-year-old Daniel Hambrick. We also have a picture of the officer, 25-year-old Officer Delk of the Juvenile Crimes Task Force. He graduated from the academy back in 2006.
According to the TBI, officers with the Juvenile Crimes Task Force were in North Nashville looking for stolen vehicles. They say they saw a car traveling in an erratic pattern and tried to stop it, but the driver fled the area. Officers did not give chase. Instead, they expanded the search area, and that led them right here to John Henry Hale Apartments. Now, the video you're about to see plays out in this parking lot. The chase starts here and then spills out onto Joe Johnston Avenue and continues toward 17th Avenue North. This is the parking lot of the John Henry Hale Apartments in North Nashville. The time on the camera reads 7:02 p.m. on Friday, July 26th. Keep your eyes on the left side of your screen. Notice a white car arrives. A door opens as it pulls into a parking space. 3 men emerge from the vehicle. They move quickly up the sidewalk, past apartment residents and bystanders. 30 seconds later, an unmarked police car arrives. You can see it at the top of your screen. One of the men runs in the opposite direction. The officer runs after him. This different camera angle from the opposite end of the parking lot shows the same sequence. One of the men who got out of the car is moving fast toward one of the apartments when the officer pulls up. A foot pursuit begins as everyone in the parking lot watches. The man and the officer run toward apartments that face Joe Johnston Avenue. Watch closely. The man running from the officer trips and falls in the parking lot. The pursuing officer is then not far behind. They run out of view and around the front corner of the apartments and into this view from the camera on Joe Johnston Avenue. The camera is pointed toward 17th Avenue North. The man running from the officer has something in his hand. A TBI review of the video described it as, quote, a dark-colored object. We froze the video and zoomed in to give you a closer look. And here is another view taken steps later as the man continues to flee. Now, back to the video. The officer continues the foot pursuit with his gun drawn. Both men run through the grass toward the corner of Joe Johnston and 17th, but a tree blocks the view of what unfolds next. According to the TBI, the situation escalated further and resulted in the officer firing his service weapon several times. At 7:03 p.m., only 58 seconds after he arrived, the officer makes his way to the front porch of one of those apartments. He stays there for about 1 minute until the first backup unit arrives. Look closely at the top of your screen, above the tree. You see a heavy police presence that continues to emerge. This camera angle is around the corner on 17th Avenue. It gives you a closer look as more officers arrive for backup. Residents and onlookers quickly gather to watch what's happening. Officers begin to tape off the scene and establish a perimeter around the area. Medics then arrive to transport the wounded man for medical treatment. He dies a short time later. The TBI says agents recovered a handgun at the scene. A Metro Police tweet sent that night reads, "Fatal police-involved shooting under investigation. 25-year-old man who carried this gun was shot by MNPD officer."
We are following this breaking news alert. Very tragic news to start with this morning. A deputy shot and killed in the line of duty. This is still a very active scene in Dixon County right now. We believe it all started around 7 o'clock this morning. Officers are still looking for the suspect. This is him, Stephen Wiggins.
There's not much I can say today other than our heart's shattered with this. This is one of our best deputies.
Law enforcement and family, as well as the community, mourn the death of Sergeant Daniel Baker. It looked like a heavenly salute to the fallen officer, Daniel Baker, as a rainbow formed at the funeral home where his body was being prepared for transport to the Davidson County Medical Examiner's office.
This is the scene around midday in rural Dixon County. Every road, every driveway, we encounter armed law enforcement officers. They're checking homes, clearing barns, and looking in outbuildings. While these moments are intense for law officers, it's also frightening for residents.
It's a lot of woods, a lot of farmland, so he's got a lot of places to hide out if he wants to.
Dixon County residents came downtown to pay their respects as well. As the procession passed through downtown Dixon, many held their hands or hats over their hearts. And we actually spotted one little boy, you saw him at the top of the show, who held a salute as Sergeant Baker passed. We spoke with him and he said his dad knew Sergeant Baker and they used to hunt, fish, and trap all together.
He was like the bestest friend I could ever have. He helped me. He was a strong man, and he was good to his community. And I wish he could just see me one more time, and I wish I could just say goodbye to him before he got shot in action.
These pictures were taken just this morning as soon as Wiggins was captured. We know a state trooper saw Wiggins allegedly poking his head out of the woods.
What was that like, that moment?
Ooh, it was scary.
Wednesday morning, shortly after Sergeant Danny Baker is discovered dead, Bon Aqua resident Steve Adams gets a call from his brother. He says he's just spotted murder suspects, Stephen Wiggins and Erica Castro Miles. They're running through the woods around his Hickman County home on Pumpkin Branch Road. What made you go over there?
Like I said, my brother spotted someone up in the woods,
He called me, said I just seen them.
We are keeping up with a breaking news alert out of Dixon County tonight. More than 24 hours after a 5-year-old with autism disappeared from his home, law enforcement agencies are going all out to find him.
News 2's Nick Calloway is live tonight near the staging area for the search for 5-year-old Joe Clyde Daniels. Nick, what can you tell us about the search at this hour?
Hey guys, yeah, the sun has obviously gone down, but the search for that little boy will continue throughout the night. Take a look behind me. This is the command post set up where agencies from across the state are staging for this search. So far, the search effort has been exhaustive. At least 10 ponds have been combed through. Helicopters and dogs have been utilized with a search radius spanning miles. But tonight, the temperatures are dropping, and that is a concern.
It has been an all-out search. By air.
We went down like these old roads.
And by land.
The wooded area back there. We looked in the barns and the sheds.
Kim Hodgen and her sister Connie Stinson grew up in these parts.
A lot of brush. There's the old hollow logs that a child could get into.
Yeah. They are just two of the many volunteers who have been searching for 5-year-old Joe Clyde Daniels.
This has been 2 days now, and it's just... my heart goes out. It goes out to them, and I know there's several hundreds of people out here searching for your little boy. And
this is a News 2 breaking news alert.
For 4 days, that was my child. Yes, that was your child. That was your child. Yes, ma'am. That was Dixon County's baby. Yes, ma'am. That was Middle Tennessee's baby.
A community dealing with shock and heartbreak. A father charged with killing his own 5-year-old son. Hundreds of volunteers and deputies spent 3 days scouring Dixon County, looking for baby Joe.
It's just a bond, and I think we each feel that when we're looking for a 5-year-old boy, everyone's heart's in it at that point, and it pushes us harder maybe than any other case that we work, because any of us that have children, we're touched by that.
The 911 calls now chilling to hear. Investigators say Joseph Ray Daniels called Wednesday morning knowing his son was dead.
Where is your emergency?
Yes, this is Dixon County 911.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was on 1112 Garners Creek Road, and my son has escaped, and we cannot find him.
Tonight, the desperate search for answers as the investigation continues.
The search continues for Joe Clyde Daniels' body. Meanwhile, both of his parents appeared in court this morning.
Yeah, Joseph Ray Daniels, his father, is charged with criminal homicide, and his wife Crystal is also charged with aggravated child neglect. Today they appeared in court for an arraignment. Outside of the courtroom, dozens of people here you see gathered demanding to know where baby Joe is. News 2's Jessica Jaglois was there for it all. And Jessica, as we are all seeing and hearing, a lot of emotion outside that courthouse.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Many of those longtime Dixon County residents who waited outside the court today have already tried and convicted Joe and Crystal Daniels in their heads, even though today was the couple's first court appearances. Now, we also spoke with several people who demanded that they know where the body of baby Joe is located. One by one, the parents of Joseph Clyde Daniels III, or Baby Joe, walked through a gauntlet of signs, chants, and emotions. Dixon County resident Dutch Bryant brought a microphone, speaker, and a litany of homemade signs for Joe and Crystal Daniels' first court appearances.
You were there my first day and my last. Dad knows where, Mom too. Y'all failed Joe, but Dixon won't. I don't want them to think that we're forgetting, because we're not.
This is not good news, folks. This is getting very dangerous very quickly, all right? Anyone living along this line as it comes through, it could have rotation. Please be taking your precautions.
We've just been escorted here by the Sheriff's Department, just getting our first look at things. And behind me, you do see a barn here that's been destroyed. And if you look at some of the debris that's been spread up along the fence line that you see off in the background there, and there are some houses that have some structural damage.
Time we got out of bed and walked to the bathroom, and I slipped on a pair of pants real fast, it hit us. And I was holding the door trying to keep the stuff from flying in and sucking me out.
Damage throughout the area here. This is over on Midland Road where a home collapsed, killing a woman inside. Now, investigators do not believe anyone else was inside the home when this happened. This is over on Rock Springs Midland Road, where a house actually rolled as a result of that storm moving through the area.
I can tell you this wind was strong. You can see we're at the sports complex out here. Earlier, I told you when the sun came up, we'd be able to see some of that damage, and that's what you're taking a look at. This is a cinder block wall that was smashed out, and that's just some of the damage out at this sports complex. Most of the damage, though, here in Loretto concentrated off 2nd Avenue South to the high school and the sports complex. We did see some downed trees as well, but if you see, this is an old press box that has been torn off its base, thrown by the wind, and you can see more cinder blocks thrown, some Pepsi machines. But as we walk up to the top, this gives you a better perspective of what the field actually looks like.
This is a News 2 special report. Remembering Sergeant Daniel Baker.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a celebration of life, a salute to a hero as we bring you coverage of the funeral of Dickson County Sheriff Sergeant Daniel Scott Baker. I believe this is Lisa Baker being brought into the church. At this point, a giant American flag being raised over Highway 70.
We told Daniel never had a big brother, and I never had a little brother, so we kind of filled that void for each other. And thank you for y'all letting me have him for a while, sharing it with me. I love you, bud. Till then.
Daniel, buddy, I love you, and I'm gonna miss you. But you rest in peace, my brother. We got your 6.
As we watch these cars come into view, you see the hearse carrying Sergeant Daniel Baker's body. As the folks go quiet, you see the motorcycles with their blue lights surrounding both sides of him. That is Lisa Baker being escorted to her seat, the widow of Sergeant Daniel Baker, and their daughter Meredith.
500, Sergeant Daniel Scott Baker, badge 95, out of service for the remainder. Thank you for your service. Rest easy, and we'll take it from here.
Traffic headaches, traffic tie-ups, traffic wars. It's the downside of Nashville's growth. News 2 investigates the big plans and all the plan Bs. Nashville 2018 Traffic Wars. Thursday in every newscast on News 2.
Red, yellow, green. As soon as you see the light, you know what to do. But what it takes for the lights to change colors isn't as simple as stop, slow, or go.
I think that's what most people don't realize is how much technology is actually in the signal cabinet working for their benefit to try to get them where they need to go.
Jeff Hammond is the Assistant Director of Transportation for Metro Public Works.
This is our second busiest intersection.
He drives Nashville roads to make sure the traffic lights are working just as he helped design them to.
We do counts to tell us how much demand there is on every approach, every turning movement. So we want to know how many people want to go left, how many people want to go right, and we do that for all approaches of the intersection.
For all 850 traffic signals in Davidson County. With all that information, engineers come up with a pattern to keep traffic moving and to keep you from getting stopped at light after light.
We talk about synchronization. We're talking about making sure that traffic follows a platooning order so that traffic can progress through a corridor in a fashion so you're not getting stuck at every red light. The signals know where they are with respect to each other in their timing pattern and how to keep traffic moving the most efficiently.
Most lights are synchronized, and from the moment you pull up to the light, the controller, or these big silver boxes you see on the side of the road, start talking to each other.
What happens next can be seen from Metro's central operating system.
Those are the pedestrian signals.
It shows 560 intersections online in real time. Stacy Warwick is the traffic operations supervisor and can adjust problems with a traffic signal with the click of a mouse. So the next time you're stuck at a light, remember it takes technicians, engineers, IT experts, and a little bit of patience to get you from red to green. Morgan Hightower, News 2.
News 2 was the only station in the courtroom live for the plea announcement.
Your conditional plea, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Mayor Barry's unprecedented downfall.
Plea agreements, resignation.
When breaking news happens, News 2 is local coverage you can count on.
The DA would be behind any possible charges that were issued. It would have been, she would have been served papers, and this court hearing would have been set. Here we go. Let's go ahead and listen.
All right. I have paperwork. All right, Mr. Bruno, are you ready to go?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Please, Mr. Barry, please raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear to tell the truth, so help you God? Yes, sir.
All right, I'll need you a little bit closer to that microphone because I'll need to be able to hear what you say. All right, you've just been placed under oath. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I want you to understand if you answer any of those questions untruthfully, you could be charged with perjury. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
What is your conditional plea to the charge of theft of property, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I find you conditionally guilty. I find there's a factual basis for the plea and that the plea is freely and voluntarily given in case 2018 I-112 and pursuant to TCA 4035-313, you've accepted a 3-year probationary period, unsupervised probation, with restitution in the amount of $11,000. And as I stated previously, if you do what you're supposed to do, you can have this matter dismissed and expunged. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, you're welcome.
Nashville will have a new mayor. As you just heard live on air, the mayor has pled guilty to felony theft over $10,000, agreeing to repay the city $11,000 in reimbursement fees. It was a little stunning hearing her admit guilty to the charges that the DA had put forward, but there you have it. The mayor is going to step down. That means Vice Mayor David Briley will lead the city as soon as he gets sworn in.
Let's bring Chris Bungard.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and walk Chris Bungard in here. We'll widen out the camera shot to kind of include him in the conversation. So, Chris, you've covered politics in this city for a long, long time. We don't remember a mayor pleading guilty in criminal court and walking down to the first floor and resigning.
There's a first for everything. This is absolutely stunning to see Glenn Funk in there, Mayor Barry looking right at him. Obviously, they have been political adversaries.
That's right.
I don't think anybody, that is no secret in this town.
It's a nation.
Of course, this all came out January 31st, and since then, since publicly admitting this affair with Sergeant Robert Force, she has been adamant that she did nothing wrong and that she will not be resigning. She did nothing wrong legally, I should say, and that she will not be resigning. She has been adamant about that.
We know that the Sergeant Forrest went in there, and now we understand that looks like the mayor's SUV that is now pulled in, and the mayor's going to go through the same booking process as well there. So we
the mayor
understand.
is in the front seat right there. There she is.
Okay, so the mayor will now go out and go through the same process. We'll see her walk across the street.
Y'all step back. You gotta move the car. I don't want y'all to get hurt with it.
So this is the Mayor Barry right here in the front seat. We just asked her if she wanted to make any comment beyond what she's already said. She just shook her head no. So she will go in here to the Metro Jail to get her mugshot officially taken. And so her security detail is still here with her right now. And they're closing the gate and telling us basically to step back, stay away, because this is all a secure area. Again, it's the Metro Jail. And we're being asked to step back. So this is quite a scene here because Mayor Barry is going in to be booked right now at the Metro Jail, all while Rob Forrest is right across the street in the booking office.
Yeah, and we had spoken about that a little. It's it just blows your mind to go from mayor to mugshot in less than 1 hour in the city here and what is going on here.
There's Nashville Mayor Megan Barry leaving the booking process.
Mayor Barry has just walked out, and you can see her there walking along the right side of her white Tahoe. She's getting in the back seat, and this is Detective Mike Dixon, one of her security detail members, that's about to come and open up the gate, and we're going to walk around So obviously she's finished the booking process. We don't know where she'll head from here, perhaps home to her home, which is in the Hillsborough Village, Belmont area. And they're asking us to stay back. Looks like the windows are rolled up, so we're not going to be able to ask her any questions. And there she goes.
A major drug pipeline
cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin
runs through your backyard.
It's staggering the increases that we're seeing.
Go inside the interstate battle on the war on drugs. Tennessee's drug pipeline. All day Thursday in every newscast.
For the past month now, News 2 has been investigating how drugs are getting into Middle Tennessee. We found it flows through an invisible pipeline from California, Arizona, and Texas. Here in Tennessee, that pipeline is I-40. Andy Cordan rides along with the brave men of the 23rd Judicial Drug Task Force to see what they're dealing with on a regular basis.
Drugs, guns, human trafficking, instruments of financial fraud.
We have seen everything you could imagine.
It all rolls down I-40, a concrete thoroughfare linking one end of the country to the other.
We work hand in hand with the DEA.
According to drug agents with the 23rd Judicial Drug Task Force, I-40 is a traveling cesspool full of secret compartments and wanted criminals, all of it rolling through at 70 miles an hour.
The increase in the amount of heroin and methamphetamine that's being trafficked across the U.S.-Mexico border at this time, it's staggering. Do you have any illegal drugs in the vehicle? Specifically any marijuana?
Is that vehicle beside you going to grandma's house, to work, to a kid's soccer match? Or is that car beside you more sinister, sent here by a murderous drug lord?
It is a major thoroughfare for drug trafficking organizations and criminal enterprises to utilize that federal highway system to get from point A to point B.
Every day of the week, contraband flies down this highway. The only barrier? Interdiction agents like this man, patrolling the I-40 pipeline.
We have encountered people that are associated with terrorist activities and terrorist investigations. If it exists, it drives up and down the interstate every day.
Because the cargo is so lucrative, because the pipeline so mired in contraband, what these men do can be life-threatening. Every stop's a mystery that could suddenly erupt into a gunfight.
The weakest point to intercept a drug shipment or any criminal enterprise is when they're trying to get from point A to point B, because they don't ever know what's in between.
Because these men interrupt the flow of contraband along the pipeline, they must stay undercover, shielding their faces, their names, so the drug lords and cartels don't put a contract hit out on them or their families.
Well, that's what they pay us to do, to be out there stopping cars every day.
Unlike city police, the primary mission out here is to shut down the pipeline and follow the leads wherever they may go.
We stopped a vehicle one day. Inside of the engine, they had built a compartment in the engine while it was running, and it had 4 kilos, 8.8 pounds of cocaine in it. It was destined to Syracuse, New York. We were able to get the individual to cooperate, and we actually did a controlled delivery. Delivered the cocaine, arrested the bad guy up there, which according to DEA in Syracuse was their #1 target for like the last 6 years.
Andy Cordan, News 2.
Terrifying moments at Marshall County High School in Benton, Kentucky. 2 teen students killed and more than a dozen others injured as their 15-year-old classmate opened fire inside the school this morning. Now emotional words from Kentucky's governor.
These children belong to this community and to specific families in this community.
These children taught how to prepare in case of an active shooter were tragically forced to put that knowledge to use today. Our team coverage of the Kentucky school shooting begins now. Marshall County is 2 hours from Nashville. This is the scene of the school where 17 students were injured. Again, 2 students were killed. One of those was a 15-year-old girl who died at the school this morning.
A 15-year-old male student was flown to a local hospital where he died from his injuries. 4 other patients are still being treated for gunshot wounds at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. We have team coverage for you now. Jessica Jaglois and Nick Calloway are in Kentucky, and Larry Flowers is at Vanderbilt University Medical Center.
Yeah, but we begin tonight with Jessica. Jess, you spoke with a witness today. Describe for us what that was like.
A harrowing story he had, Eric. Now, after the shooting, school officials brought students here to North Marshall Middle where their parents could pick them up. It's here I spoke with a Marshall County High School junior. He told me shortly before 8 o'clock this morning, just 10 minutes before school was set to start, he was hanging out with classmates in a commons area. He says he was steps away when a fellow student pulled out a gun.
I was like 4 foot away from this guy. I mean, I turn around and then I see this guy draw from his side, and he pulls out a pistol. I mean, I didn't even know what was going on. I mean, I didn't really think much of it. I was just looking at it, and then it registered. And about the time it registered, this guy's sitting here pulling the trigger into us, like all of us, and like I got grazed on my hand and stuff, and this guy's sitting here pulling the trigger, and it was unbelievable. I mean, I'm sitting here watching my friends, just innocent friends that wouldn't hurt a fly, just ending it. I mean, I was sitting there, I seen one kid on the ground. It was unreal. I mean, it was traumatic. I can't even explain it.
4 people are dead after a mass shooting in Antioch. It happening at a Waffle House on the 3500 block of Murfreesboro Pike in Antioch. This is the second mass shooting in Antioch in less than a year. Mara Sirianni has been on the scene all morning and is giving us an update now. Mara, what is new?
Well, hey, Morgan, I can tell you we just got an update from police here within the past half an hour or so. They say the suspect is still on the run. There is a Metro Police helicopter that is flying pretty low at this point. So police say they are using canines to track the suspects.
The Waffle House employees scatter. Then I looked back and I saw a person laying on the ground right at the entrance of the door. So then I jumped pretty much and slid from the tabletop to the entrance of the door, and I think he let off some shots through the glass, and then he proceeded to come in. And then when he proceeded to come in, I actually went behind this like a push door, swivel door, and he shot through that door, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure he grazed my arm. And it was at that time that I kind of made up my mind, because there's no way to lock that door, that if it was going to come down to it, he was going to have to work to kill me. So at the time that he was either reloading or the gun jammed or whatever happened is when I ran through the swivel door. I hit him with the swivel door, and then the gun was kind of jammed up and it was pushed down, so we were scuffling. And I managed to get him with one hand on the gun, and then I grabbed it from him and I threw it over the countertop. And then after that, I was trying to get out the door, and I think he was pretty much in the entranceway, so I just took him out with me out of the entrance and all the way outside. And then I proceeded to run around, and he had like a walk, trot, pace type of jog that he was doing, trying to get away, and that's kind of what happened.
Ryan King was caught walking across a construction site next to Discovery at Mountain View Apartments. That's where he lived. He was spotted in the wood line there just yesterday. Again, that area was searched, but he was able to elude police. We still don't know how. A viewer sent us video of Ryan King being taken into custody from the woods, again near those apartments. Police say they were called to the area, went to the woods, and saw a pathway. They took that path, and as they walked through the woods, they saw Ryan King's face. They say he obeyed commands, spread his hands and feet on the ground, and they took him into custody without incident.
We the people of Tennessee, proud of our deep southern roots. From the aging barrels of Jack Daniels in Lynchburg to the nightly guitar strums in the Music City, the uncertain currents of the Mississippi River in Memphis, and the peaks and valleys of the Smoky Mountains. Along with our southern roots is southern pride and deep differences on issues affecting voters across our state. From how to fix the crumbling infrastructure to repairing cracks in the education system.
It seems like to me Department of Education isn't holding themselves to the same high standard.
And fractures in healthcare. Tonight, listen for the vision from the 2 leading candidates for governor, one Democrat, one Republican.
I'm Carl Dean. I'm Bill Lee.
It is now up to you, the voters. What path for the future will you choose for Tennessee for the next 4 years? This is the 2018 Tennessee Governor Debate.
News 2 digs deeper into the medical marijuana debate all day today in every newscast. New at 10, there is a law on the books in Tennessee which allows seizure patients to use cannabis oil, an extract from the cannabis plant for medical purposes. It took a grassroots effort from several groups and individuals to get that bill passed, but advocates say more needs to be done. News 2's Larry Flowers explains.
So this is the CBD oil. So we just ordered these, on the web from this CW Botanicals in Colorado.
Brentwood resident Timothy Vogus' son Aiden has been having seizures since he was 4 weeks old. He's been on 18 different medications and has had several surgeries.
I've seen it benefit him when nothing else would. And we're just going to do oil, okay, buddy?
Aiden has been using cannabis oil for 2.5 years. His mom freezes the oil in capsules.
In the first year, being on the cannabis oil, no other change in his medications at all. His seizures were cut in half. In the second year, just this past year, he had a 9-month stretch where he had 0 seizures total, none.
And it's still illegal, but it's not illegal in every state.
Paul Kuhn has been involved in grassroots efforts on marijuana law reform since 1971, 47 years and counting.
I became upset when I realized that we had not been told the truth about marijuana. And I really discovered that when I got out of the Navy, and I was perturbed that the government that I served and to which I pledged my allegiance was misinforming the public on marijuana.
Then it became personal. 21 years ago, his late wife Jeannie was battling cancer. She used marijuana for relief after undergoing chemo treatment.
And the legal drugs just failed completely to stop that awful nausea that comes with chemotherapy, and a puff of marijuana and it just disappeared immediately.
Kuhn's name was on a bill before state lawmakers, the Kuhn Medical Cannabis Act. The bill would have authorized prescription sales of marijuana for medical purposes. It failed to make it out of committee.
80% of Tennessee voters support medical marijuana, but boy, it's not 80% of the state legislature.
There's the bill signing with the governor.
Vogus was instrumental in helping to legalize the use of cannabis oil for limited medical use for seizure patients only. Governor Haslam signed the bill into law in 2015.
It's really about, families trying to help kids, people trying to help people with very serious health conditions, right, that otherwise aren't finding relief.
Aiden hasn't seen any side effects from using the cannabis oil. His dad says it's been a lifesaver. But get this, even the dosage of all of his other medications has also been reduced.
Deadly tornado outbreaks.
People say it sounds like a train, and that is really what it sounded like.
And the tornado actually hit our house. We took a direct hit, and we were sucked up in the tornado.
Bricks, houses down, people hollering, screaming. It was just devastation.
Extreme flooding events.
You're just stunned that much. You're like, how did it even get into the house? But it had blown the vents off the water, and it just come from underneath and kept coming. Well, to me, the flash flood warnings meant my backyard was going to flood. It never occurred to me my house was going to flood.
Severe thunderstorms.
I want people to be aware, be ready, be prepared. We weren't.
Bad weather is no stranger to Middle Tennesseans. While severe weather can be frightening, preparations save lives. News 2 is the Weather Authority, helping keep you and your family safe before, during, and after storms. The News 2 Severe Weather Safety Special starts now.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Breezy.
And I'm Jared Plushnik. An absolutely brutal start to the 2018 severe weather season. A week after the tornadoes, families still digging out of the wreckage.
Yes, that's right. We're here in Clarksville, where last Saturday night, 2 tornadoes touched down in EF1 and EF2. You can see the damage behind me, roofs ripped off, Cars were messed up, debris scattered everywhere.
And what's even worse, we had 2 fatalities and 9 confirmed tornadoes in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky.
A stark reminder why safety is so important. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, you're going to hear stories of survival and also learn ways to keep you and your family safe.
It's clear a tornado was here. Clarksville taking a double hit the night of February 24th.
Right before it hit, they had said to take cover, and then that's when I heard the horrible freight train loud sound coming, and I took off into the closet and shut the door, and me and my wife just hunkered down.
Guns drawn, a helicopter in the air, and one person now charged. News 2 is following breaking news, a massive manhunt for an armed and dangerous man accused of killing a Dickson County Sheriff's Office sergeant.
News 2 brings you live team coverage from Dickson County tonight on the search, what we've learned about the suspect, and what we know about the victim.
This is a News 2 breaking news alert.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 2 at 10. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. That breaking news alert out of Dickson County we've been following now for more than 12 hours. A manhunt for an armed and dangerous criminal accused of killing a sergeant.
And just in the last 30 minutes, the TBI released new information about Erica Castro Miles. She has now been charged in connection with this case. We have a reporter looking into those charges right now. Before that, we want to show you these brand new images tonight of the suspect, Stephen Wiggins. These photos released by the TBI. He has several tattoos. Wiggins is the center of a blue alert and on the TBI's 10 most wanted list.
Wiggins is no stranger to law enforcement. He's had many looks throughout the years. Here are some of the mugshots and pictures from previous years.
And while the manhunt ramps up for Wiggins, law enforcement and family, as well as the community, mourn the death of Sergeant Daniel Baker. It looked like a heavenly salute to the fallen officer, Daniel Baker, as a rainbow formed at the funeral home where his body was being prepared for transport to the Davidson County Medical Examiner's office. A procession of police cars from numerous departments led the way in tribute as the ambulance carrying Deputy Baker's body traveled along Interstate 40 toward Nashville. Along the way, more displays of respect and honor from law enforcement and everyday citizens. Once the caravan arrived in Nashville, the flag-draped body of Deputy Baker was respectfully transferred to the medical examiner's office, fellow officers there to be with their fallen comrade in arms.
We've learned more about the victim, Sergeant Daniel Scott Baker. He was in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve. He graduated from the Tennessee Law Enforcement Academy in August of 2008. He quickly moved up the ranks, becoming a patrol corporal in 2011 and then a sergeant in 2012. In 2013, he joined the Special Op Response Team. He leaves behind a wife and a daughter. Tonight, we're hearing more about a woman who was taken into custody for questioning, and she's now facing charges.
Yeah, News 2's Adam Snyder joined us live in our team coverage tonight from the Dickson County Jail in Charlotte. She is inside tonight facing those charges. What have you learned, Adam?
Well, we're still trying to learn more at this moment, Bob. Not a lot of information has been released. I can tell you her name is Erica Castro Miles, as y'all mentioned. We know tonight that she has been charged with first-degree murder. She was brought here earlier today and remains in custody at the Dickson County Jail, though her role in the murder has not been released. Now, Stephen Wiggins was certainly well acquainted with this facility due to a lengthy multi-county track record with law enforcement. According to court documents, over the past 12 years, he's been arrested multiple times, with charges including domestic assault, possession of a weapon by a felon, resisting arrest, theft, and vandalism. His most recent arrest was actually just this Tuesday. Wiggins is accused of assaulting a woman at a nearby hotel, then stealing her car. And this shows a true pattern of assault here, as he's had 8 or 9 assault and domestic assault charges over the past few years. Now, there's no word yet on the connection between he, though, and Castro Miles. Now, we will have crews here at the jail throughout the night as this intensive search continues. Reporting live in Dickson County, Adam Snyder, News 2.
Thank you, Adam. Turning now to how this all unfolded. There are still a lot of questions tonight as investigators piece together what led to this morning's shooting.
We've learned just in the last 30 minutes the crime scene where the shooting happened has been reopened, and detectives have left the scene after collecting evidence. In our team coverage tonight, News 2's Kim Wynn is live in Dickson County at a staging area where we've been getting updates from authorities there. Kim.
Yeah, hey there, Haley. This has been an all-day search effort for the suspect, Stephen Wiggins. Right now, it looks like this search will continue through the night and through tomorrow morning. As you can see behind me, lots of law enforcement still at this staging area, so they're prepared to be here for as long as it takes. Now, take a look at some of this video that we just got moments ago. The tow truck driver, tells us that this vehicle you're seeing right now was Sergeant Baker's truck being towed away in this shot. You can see a sheet covering the driver's side window. Now here's a breakdown of everything that led up to this. Around 7 this morning, Sergeant Daniel Baker went to check out a call about a suspicious vehicle on Sam Vineyard Road. Baker was later found dead in his patrol car about 2 or 3 miles away. Law enforcement has been searching for the suspect, Stephen Wiggins. They've been going door to door and searching wooded areas. Now, Wiggins has a very long criminal past and is wanted for assaulting a woman and stealing her car at a hotel in Kingston Springs just on Tuesday. Now, the TBI now saying that woman, Erica Castro Miles, has been charged in connection to the murder. Baker's death has sent shockwaves throughout law enforcement across the state.
They are our brothers and sisters, and when you're around them on a basis as close as we are, you know, it's one of those things that we know in the back of our mind that it could happen to any of us, and sadly today it happened to one of us.
It certainly brings it home the difficult situations that these officers face every single day. When you're walking into something, you don't exactly know what you're walking to at any given time.
And again, law enforcement is expected to be out here all night long. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. In Dickson County, Kim Nguyen, News 2.
Thank you, Kim. And tonight we have our team monitoring the search right along with law enforcement officers. News 2's Nick Calloway has been keeping up with the search efforts all night along Plunders Creek Road. That is near the Dixon-Hickman County line.
Yeah, officers were seen with their guns drawn outside the wooded area while a helicopter hovered above. And before that, Nick was out in the county talking with community members who tell him they remain vigilant.
The police presence here has been staggering. Police have saturated Dickson County as the search for Stephen Wiggins intensifies. We were there as dozens of officers swarmed the woods off Highway 48 near the Dixon-Hickman County line, guns drawn and police helicopters hovering overhead. Residents in the area of the manhunt have been living on edge all day long, many arming themselves and keeping an eye out for Stephen Wiggins.
He comes over here, we'll hold him until somebody gets here, or, you know, we'll do whatever we have to do to make sure everybody stays safe.
And this wooded area behind me has been an area of interest for police for several hours now. And as the sun fell, this search only got more difficult. Nick Calloway, News 2.
Thank you, Nick. News 2's Andy Cordan was one of the first reporters on the scene as officers began searching.
In more team coverage tonight, Andy walks us through those intense moments.
So this is the area around Old Highway 46, and as you can see behind me, it's nothing but forest and trees and deep, dense places where a bad guy could hide. We were out with law enforcement for a good portion of today. Here's what it looks like inside the inner perimeter. I can tell you it's a windy thoroughfare, thick canopy of trees flanked by tall grass and shrubs. It's a dangerous and perfect place for a bad guy to hide. As we proceeded deeper into the woods, we were greeted somewhat by THP troopers, Dickson County SWAT team members. We saw canine units. They were going house to house, door to door. They were checking old barns. We saw as they used canines to clear one part of a structure while law enforcement officers kind of stacked on top of each other with their weapons drawn, looked inside of dark places. Certainly a very dangerous situation throughout much of the day. Sadly, they did not find this man, but I can tell you they will not give up. We are here in Dickson. I'm Andy Cordan. Let's send it back to you.
Thank you, Andy. And while authorities continue the search, the TBI has increased the reward now to $12,500. Here's another look at Wiggins' picture. If you do see him, do not approach him. Call 911.
Well, Dixon County lost a hero. Sheriff Jeff Bledsoe understandably spoke very highly of his deputy this afternoon.
Eric Egan is joining us to explain how Sergeant Baker has put himself in danger before to help others. Eric.
Yeah, hi guys. He'd been a deputy for 10 years, also a member of the Marine Corps Reserves. This was a man whose life was about bravery and, of course, service. Now, despite his full-time duty, Baker responded to Freed Hardeman in March for a shooting. This was the scene here. He wasn't working as a deputy that night, but he acted fast and prevented what could have been a tragedy there. Investigators said a man was shooting a gun in this parking lot. Here's what the Dixon County Sheriff said happened.
A male was outside firing a weapon. Sergeant Baker was on scene that night working a secondary job for Freed Hardeman at the Renaissance Center, and he was the one that intervened and got that person in custody.
So no one was hurt that night because Baker prevented it. Now, Sheriff Bledsoe also talked about a time Baker saved a woman from her car during a water rescue. This was clearly a man who would not hesitate to help others and would not put himself first. Guys.
Thank you, Eric. Stay with News 2 for continuing coverage. We'll bring you any updates on air, online, and on the go.
And still ahead here at 10, how law enforcement from all across the region are honoring Sergeant Baker.
This is a News 2 Storm Tracker Weather Alert.
News 2 is in weather alert mode as Middle Tennessee braces for possible storms tomorrow. They could be severe.
We could see more rain, more storms, more flooding. It's just bad out there again.
I know. Unfortunately, that's the case. We had a round of storms come through tonight. You know, those were, one of them were severe, but we are watching right now some showers out there to the east here over Manchester and McMinnville. This is what's left over, not a whole lot. That's pushing towards Cookeville, Crossville, so heads up, you might get a few showers. Otherwise, it did cool us down. We're at 72 degrees in Nashville. Here's that timeline as we head into the overnight hours. First thing tomorrow morning, a few showers could be possible north and west. Otherwise, we're going to wait till around lunchtime for some showers and storms to pop. Now, these we're not as concerned with, but we are watching another round coming in at night into your Friday morning, and there is a slight risk out in that yellow color. We'll talk about the threats in the hour-by-hour timeline ahead.
Thank you, Danielle. If you live or commute to Nashville, you've probably experienced traffic headaches on I-440. Well, coming up, some big news about the improvement project you don't want to miss.
Breaking news alerts and coverage you can count on. Bob Mueller, Haley Wilgus, and Danielle Breezy's updated weekend forecast. This is News 2 at 10.
Stay with News 2 for continuing coverage of the manhunt for Stephen Wiggins, accused of killing Sergeant Daniel Baker. The search will continue throughout the night.
An update now on the I-440 reconstruction project. Well, it's going to cost taxpayers more money than expected, but it may get done faster than planned. TDOT is considering shutting down the interstate to get the job done.
The initial plan was to partially shut down 440 for 3 years, but now TDOT says it can condense that to 10 months. News 2's Linda Ong was at TDOT's press conference earlier today. And Linda, how is this going to work?
Well, Bob and Haley, again, this is that huge project that's going to replace the concrete on 440. This is a live look from our TDOT cams to asphalt. Now, according to TDOT's proposal, the shutdown would happen in 2 segments in 2 different phases. Now,
our goal is to make this as small as of a challenge or inconvenience as possible for the citizens of the state of Tennessee.
the first closure from I-65 to I-24, the work there projected to take 3 months. The second from I-40 on the west side of town to I-65. That closure would be for 7 months. TDOT officials say based on analysis, the segmented closures would minimize impact on traffic compared to partial closures.
Our customers tell us routinely, get in and get out. What can you do to accelerate the construction period of the project? We've not made a final decision on how we're going to deliver the project, but we think we want to explore this option.
Now, the date to award the design team also pushed back from the summer to the fall. Another big update is the cost. The project's estimated price tag is now anywhere between $130 to $150 million. Now, that's about 3 times the initial estimated cost. TDOT officials say construction could begin as early as this November.
Thank you, Linda. That's a big increase. They're bad and they're on the run. News 2 exposes some of Tennessee's most wanted fugitives this Thursday. Josh Breslow digs deeper into some of the cases that have become top priorities for local law enforcement locally and statewide. It's part of our ongoing commitment to expose criminals and crime trends. News 2 Crime Tracker Tennessee Most Wanted all day this Thursday in every newscast.
Tracking weather where you live. Here's News 2 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Danielle Breezy.
Check out this time-lapse video of rain that moved in and out of downtown Nashville earlier tonight. News 2 is in weather alert mode, and you can tell why with all the rain there. Now severe storms in the forecast.
Yes, it's not looking good. But
it did make for a nice sunset.
That was
rainbows.
the silver line. And rainbows.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We've got a lot of those on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm going to share some of them in just a bit, so I really appreciate all of that. But yes, tomorrow we need to stay weather alert once again because parts of our area under a slight risk, which is a level 2 out of 5 for severe weather. That green area just south of I-40 under a marginal risk, a 1 out of 5 level. It looks like the round of severe weather is actually going to come in too later in the evening through the overnight hours and into your Friday morning. So heads up, folks. We're looking for heavy rain, hail, and wind, all in the medium threat. And the tornado threat is low, but it is not 0. So we do need to stay weather alert on Thursday. Where is this system? Well, right now it's well out to the west here over Kansas and Oklahoma, providing a lot of severe weather for them right now. All that's going to slowly meander over us in Middle Tennessee. You see all those storms we saw earlier now weakening finally, and we're just left with a few showers out there from McMinnville over Manchester, Winchester, and some of these may lift into Cookeville and even Crossville before heading out tonight. Now, we did have some awesome storm clouds. I want to show you this one from Christiani here from the dark clouds heading into Alexandria. Wow, some deep clouds there. Here's an awesome picture of a storm cloud with the sunset happening here from Jody. Thanks so much for sending this in. You can send your pics to pics@wkrn.com. And then look at this sunset. Thank you, Susan, for sending this one. Welcome summer, she says. We're getting close to summer, by the way. It definitely feels like it outside. And here's another beautiful rainbow shot from Gary and Heather in Lebanon. Love that after those storms came through that were severe. All right, so these showers push on out of here and weaken. Then as we head through the day tomorrow, we might have a few spot showers north and west to start the day. Notice that by around, say, lunchtime and thereafter, showers start to pop up here around Clarksville and Portland and mainly in our eastern zones tomorrow afternoon. A few of these could have some gusty winds, some hail, heavy downpours, and a lot of lightning. But this isn't the round we're necessarily concerned with. It's the round coming after that later on that we're going to watch for. So showers and storms likely by about midday. Should be dry, though, for most of us to start. Now, this is 2 o'clock. You see the showers pushing on out of here. There's 5, too. And about 7 o'clock, more of them out to the east. But then watch overnight. Here comes a line of storms, basically from Hopkinsville over to Paris. This is bringing in slightly later now. It was looking around 7, 8 o'clock. This is delaying it just a touch, but it happens through the overnight hours. So while you're sleeping, a line of strong storms coming in 2, 3, 4 in the morning. They're into, say, Nashville, Columbia, Lebanon here, and then they continue to push farther east. And more storms come in for the ride into work. It looks like along I-40 and points north around 7 o'clock, and all of them then push to the east by about 10 o'clock. After that, in the lunchtime hours, then all the storm activity shifts really south of I-40 on Friday. North of I-40, we begin to dry out, and we will see temperatures warm back up into the upper 80s. And that begins a little bit of a drying trend as we head into the weekend, which I'm going to talk about now in that Weather Authority 7-day forecast. So we have storms possible that are strong in the morning hours into early afternoon on Friday. Saturday looks mainly dry, but it will be hot. It will be humid, around 90 degrees. On Sunday, there is a threat for showers and storms in the afternoon and evening. But next week, we finally get a dry stretch, Monday through Wednesday. Haley and Bob.
Thank you, Danielle. Fellow brothers in blue mourning the loss of Dickson County Sergeant Daniel Baker. We'll show you their moving tribute next on News 2 at 10. Well, after more than 12 hours of searching for Stephen Wiggins, and the hunt continues tonight into the overnight. He's accused of killing Dickson County Sergeant Daniel Baker. Stay with News 2 for continuing coverage of this breaking news alert on air, online, and on the go.
This tragedy hits close to home for law enforcement agencies all across the state. Condolences have been pouring in from different departments.
It is a brotherhood. In Kingston Springs, the fire department honors fallen Sergeant Daniel Baker. They hoisted the flag in a tribute to Baker as the processional made its way to Nashville.
Several law enforcement officers from across the region joined in the escort, including Mount Juliet Police. The department posted this picture on Twitter expressing their support for the Dixon County Sheriff's Office and Sergeant Baker's family. The Anderson County Sheriff's Department also sent their condolences via Twitter. They wrote in part, "Our most heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of Sergeant Daniel Baker of the Dixon County Sheriff's Office."
And more than 1,000 miles away, the Boston Police Relief Association tweeted in part, "Sending our thoughts and prayers to the family, friends, and co-workers of Sergeant Daniel Baker, who was shot and killed in the line of duty, protecting the people he served. Hashtag never forgotten, hashtag Blue Family."
All right, let's talk Titans. It's the second week of OTAs, but for the first time, we've had a chance to talk with the players since the NFL spring meetings. A hot button topic was the national anthem, which the NFL now says is optional. But if the players do take the field for it, they do have to stand. If they don't come out, they do have the support of ownership.
In order to make sure that everybody understood the policy, that just came out. And so, as coaches and players and everybody in our organization, we're fully aware of what the policy is. With that being said, we're also fully aware that we have Miss Amy and the entire organization's support to make a decision based on that policy.
Honestly, I'm out and doing what I do in the community, trying to make it better today. That's something we have to worry about in September.
Well, Delaney Walker will be 34 next season, but isn't showing any signs of slowing down. He's entering the last year of his contract, leaving us to wonder just how much he has left, and will it be in a Titans uniform?
I feel great, and at the end of the day, until I feel like someone can take my spot, I'm going to keep playing. I feel like I can play for 4 years. So as long as I still feel that way and I'm moving as fast as I am on the field and making plays, I'm not going to stop.
Love his professionalism, love his work ethic, love his attitude, love his production. So, we're lucky to have him, and he's a great example to a lot of young players.
Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals, first period tonight. It's former Predator James Neal with the sniper shot for the goal and a 1-0 Vegas lead. But tonight, back would come Washington, already tied at 1, and on the power play, Lars Eller to Alexander Ovechkin, who buries it. His first Stanley Cup goal. Caps win at 3-2. The series is tied at 1. The NBA Finals start tomorrow night on News 2, and the Golden State Warriors will not have Andre Iguodala. He is out with a bone bruise. Kevin Love remains in concussion protocol for Cleveland. Finally, soccer tonight, Nashville at Pittsburgh. They were scoreless until the 69th minute. That's when Brandon Miller found the back of the net, and it's a big road win for Nashville tonight, 1-0.
In the 69th. And stay with News 2 for continuing coverage of the manhunt for Stephen Wiggins, accused of killing Sergeant Daniel Baker. The search will continue throughout the night. Stay with us online for updates.
All right, we're talking about mostly cloudy skies and begin tomorrow. Showers and storms moving in the afternoon, but a stronger line coming in at night through the overnight hours, and will continue into first thing Friday morning. And with that being said, we do have that slight risk for severe weather in the yellow.
And News 2 is staying on top of the developments in Dixon County after Sergeant Daniel Baker was killed. We'll continue that coverage throughout the night, and on Good Morning Nashville, looking for that shooter.
That's News 2 at 10. You have a great night.